Staying on that topic, the South Korean government just laid out new measures in response to growing hostilities by these illegal Chinese fishing boats. Our Hwang Ho-jun lists out the necessary changes to ensure the safety of the Korean Coast Guard.
The measures are the strongest ever to be implemented. The Korean government on Tuesday laid out a new set of measures that will empower the Coast Guard in crackdowns on illegal Chinese fishing in Korean waters. The biggest change is that Coast Guard officers will now be allowed to use weapons during the conflicts. In addition, the Coast Guard will add more patrol ships to its existing fleet. By law, Coast Guard officers can use weapons, and they carry rifles and handguns on board the vessels with them while they're on duty. But this is the first time they will be able to use them in conflicts with the vessels. Last week, in a confrontation between a Chinese fishing vessel and a Korean Coast Guard vessel that led to the Korean vessel to sink, the Korean officers did use their weapons, but they only fired off shots in the air to intimidate the trespassers. In the past, if Korean Coast Guard vessels were outnumbered by trespassing Chinese ships, all the Coast Guard could do was try and force them to leave. And if a Korean vessel came under attack, as it did last week, the Coast Guard had little recourse. But now, the Korean Coast Guard will not only be able to react more aggressively by using weapons, it will also be permitted to launch a cannon fire and ram into the offending vessel. If the ship starts to flee, the Coast Guard can chase it into open water to capture it. And if the trespassing vessel tries to ram into a Korean Coast Guard vessel, all of the fishermen on board will be put under investigation and their assets will be confiscated. Hwang Ho-jun, Arirang News.